All right, so here's an example of a quadratic equation. We've already set it equal to 0 and put it in standard form. Now the fact that we have a number other than 1 in front of this x squared is probably going to make it easier with the quadratic formula not completing the square. So we're going to do the quadratic formula. First thing we're going to do is we're going to identify A. A is 8, and then B. B is -8. -8, and C is +2. So now we're just going to put the A, B, and C in our quadratic formula here. So we have x is equal to negative B. B is -8. So what we have here is negative -8. Negative -8 is going to be a positive number because this is like a -1. -1 times -8 is +8. So this is ultimately going to become a +8. Okay? Plus or minus the square root of B in parentheses, -8 squared. So this is -8 times -8. That's going to be +64. Just giving you a heads up. Minus 4 times A is 8 times C is 2. There we go. All over 2 times A. A is 16. Okay? Oh, sorry. 2 times A is 16. Sorry about that. That's 2A. A is 8, but 2 times 8 is going to become 16. Okay, so I'm just thinking ahead. So I'm going to go ahead and resolve some of this. X is equal to -8 is just 8, plus or minus the square root of. Now, I can do this inside of in a calculator if I need to. In fact, if I grab a calculator, do I have one nearby? Here's one. If I grab a calculator, I can just key in. Here's how I'm going to do it. Do not include the radical. Just do the discriminant. Just do what's under the radical. So I'm going to go parenthesis -8, close parenthesis, squared. Then I'm going to do minus 4, and then times parenthesis 8, then times parenthesis 2. When I press enter, I get 0. Oh, that makes sense, because -8 times -8 is 64, minus 4 times 8 is 32. 32 times 2 is 64. Okay, so it becomes 0. That's convenient. 2 times 8 is 16. And so what we wind up with is 8 plus or minus the square root of 0 over 16. Now, remember what we said previously, the discriminant here is 0, okay? And because the discriminant is 0, okay, and so there is only one real solution. There is one real solution. So we're only going to have one answer instead of two answers, and it's going to be a real number. Well, let's find out what it is. Well, we know that the square root of 0 is 0. So what we have here is x is equal to 8 plus or minus 0 over 16. Well, 8 plus 0 is 8, and 8 minus 0 is 8. So we wind up with 8 over 16, and 8 over 16 is 1/2. And so that one solution is 1/2. Okay? And so that's an example of another example using the quadratic formula. All right, so here's another example that would be really good with the quadratic formula because the x squared leads with a 2. And so I'd rather use the quadratic formula here. So let's identify A, B, and C. A is 2, B is -7, C is 5. A is 2, B is -7, C is 5. And so we're going to write out the quadratic formula. X is equal to -b, so that's -7, plus or minus the square root of b squared. So we'll put -7 in parentheses, then squared, minus 4 times A, which is 2, times C, which is 5. Okay? All over 2 times A. That's 2 times 2. Okay? Now let's resolve some of this. So x is equal to -7 is 7, plus or minus the square root of. And now, -7 squared is -7 times -7. That's 49. And then 4 times 2 times 5. 2 times 5, that's 10. 10 times 4 is 40. So this is -40. All over 2 times 2 is 4. And so 49 minus 40, well, that's 9. So what we have here is 7 plus or minus the square root of 9 over 4. And look here, our discriminant, the number under the radical, is 9. It's a positive number. And therefore, there are 2 real solutions because the discriminant is positive. And so now let's find out what they are. Well, we know that the square root of 9 is 3. So x is going to be equal to 7 plus or minus 3 over 4. Okay, well, let's break that into 2. We'll do 7 plus 3 over 4. And the other one is going to be 7 minus 3 over 4. 7 minus 3 over 4. Well, 7 plus 3 is 10. So we have 10 over 4, which can be reduced to 5 over 2. So this is one of our solutions, 5 over 2. And then here, x is equal to 7 minus 3 is 4. 4 over 4, well, that's 1. So our other solution is 1. So our 2 real solutions are x is equal to 5 over 2, and our other solution is x is equal to 1.